Okay, that should have put us online. Almost ready to start. We got people here. I'm still putting food in my mouth, so I'm not quite on camera yet.
This is where we're gonna stay.
At the hot
Here comes Jim.
No,
No.
this is the house we're going to rent for 2 months
Ooh, we're in Alamo.
in Alamo.
Alamos.
Hello, Jim.
Hacienda La Victoria,
Beautiful.
We're just
Owned
getting started
by-
around here.
owned by,
The view's a little different because I forgot my tripod, so the
famous
camera's sitting on a chair.
That's 20.
All in the family.
You see the new 20 peso coin?
Archie
No, I
Bunker,
have not.
Keep on, yeah,
Carol.
Oh, all
Carol
right.
Connor.
Carol.
Only difference? It's edged.
Beautiful.
It's edged.
So
Makes it
So
easier
you're
to
going for 2
identify.
months or 3 months?
Since I
2
can't
months.
Well,
read
it
the
looks like it's
numbers.
close to a
But
10
And
peso
we just
coin.
booked here for 2
Yeah,
months.
it's very, very,
January
very close.
29th
Yeah,
to
look at
March
that.
20th.
I wonder why they would do
Semana
that.
Santa is the end
That's
of March
weird.
next.
so we went.
You'd think they would be distinguishing.
Because we're here in Mexico.
This is way beyond our price. Isn't it, Razik? And so
Mm.
we kind of just toured the place.
Yeah.
Normally I go tear the kitchen apart. I want to
Yeah.
see what's in the kitchen.
Well, it's 10 o'clock, and
even
even though I
care.
still have food in front of me, we should
care.
probably start our meeting because this is the time at which we start. I am Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions. We're already streaming on YouTube, and we've got one person in our virtual meeting. Jim is with us. I'm expecting more to join us. Hi, Jim. Thanks for joining us. And there is 6 of us here in person in Tequilas. So welcome, everybody.
Wow. That's wonderful. that's
If
cool.
you have been
mean,
to
that
one of our meetings before, you know that I like to hand out a document
Really?
beforehand, hopefully at least a day beforehand, that has suggested topics, things that I thought you might find interesting. I'm going to put that link in our meeting right now in case anybody's joining us that doesn't have that in front of them and they need that information. So I see Linda just joined us. So Linda and Jim, if you don't have this document open, you can get that link right out of the meet window. Down here under the chat icon, it'll just bring in-call messages up and you'll find the link to the document that we use for today's meeting. And we started out the meeting just talking about some of the goofiness that's going on across the border. And this is not in my notes, but this is an interview with this Canadian actress that just spent 12 days detained when she went to ask to get her visa renewed, and they wouldn't let her leave. And they actually hauled her into what's essentially a prison.
As
Put
I
her in.
understand it, they basically took her from the desk up against the wall and handcuffed her.
Oh.
Took her phone away from her. Only calls that she was allowed to make were phone numbers that she could remember. She has an interesting bit in here about how the reason she had a phone number to call was because she was using a friend's phone number to give them grocery points, like at a Safeway. And that's the only reason she remembered
Otherwise,
that
it's in
phone
your
number.
phone. Who remembers numbers?
Right?
Yeah, nobody knew where she was.
Well, this isn't really a tech topic, but it is interesting. So I'm going to put this link in our document in case anybody's interested in this interview. It's a pretty crazy thing going on right now in our country. So I'm going to add that right here. If you're looking at our document right now, you'll see I got the standard stuff at the top. The Bill of Digital Rights. If anybody wants to have any discussions about that, I'm always open to it. The bed and breakfast is open and taking reservations. So if you're from San Carlos, just say so, and I'll give you a 10% discount. Things are filling up quick, so don't forget. And also the smartphones for dummies is still an ongoing document. I'd like you to take a look at the bottom of this document and see if you see anything that you can expand on or would like expanded on to help me understand what would be helpful in a new smartphones for dummies presentation. So those are like the standard 3 things that I've been bringing to this meeting every week because I think they're ongoing. And what I just did was a link to a fact check so that if anybody's questioning whether this woman's story is true, this is Snopes verifying this is true and has an interview with her directly explaining what happened to her. Outside of my topics, as always, I'm more interested in your topics. So if anybody here or online has brought something they need answers to, questions or comments they'd like to make, Linda, welcome. Fred, welcome. Did you guys bring anything with you today? No?
Nope.
Scott, just a quick note. I was helping our neighbor in the next condominium because she had just moved in to her friend's condominium for her stay and couldn't get hooked up to the internet. So I said, well, I'll give you a hand. I'll go over and look. And I went over and looked and I typed in, it's on the a note is on the router and the router name and the password. And it's a series of numbers and letters. And I have a suggestion. If you're doing this for somebody, make sure you make it obvious that it's a B and not a 6. Lowercase.
Oh, all right.
She had handwritten it, fairly neat writing, but it was small, and we were typing in a 6 because it was a series of numbers, and the middle one was a B, and it was a lowercase b.
Sometimes
said,
an
"Wait a
L
minute."
and a 1
Oh,
sometimes
L,
an L or a 1 is hard to decipher.
a lowercase L, a 1, or uppercase I.
Zero
Yes.
and O. Zero and uppercase O.
Yeah. Yeah, that now when you're writing it, I don't know if you guys ever have done this, but when I was in school, they taught us to run a slash through the number.
Yeah.
So you would know it was a 0
Or
instead
at
of
least
a
Same
on
with
the
sevens.
6.
yeah.
Underline it if it's a 6.
Yeah, it's 6 and 9.
6
Oh,
and
yeah.
9. That they do that on dice and stuff. But anyway, just it really was. She was stymied. I was almost ready to give up, but I thought, wait a minute, this could possibly be a B. You look at it really close. You're inside a fairly dimly lit room, and you can't see it right. And 77-year-old eyes,
Flashlight.
Well, I've got an equivalent situation I just had. I was trying to sign into Mercados Libre on a different device, and it absolutely wouldn't take my email address. It's asking for an email address. It says, put in your email address or phone number. And I know what my email address is for that account. It says, now, and it says it so immediately that you're like, my web browser must be broken. There's like, what am I blocking cookies or something? Because it literally, I put in, it's like, bam, red line. This isn't right. And this happened to me in 2 different web browsers. And so what's very strange is I've got web browsers on other computers that are already signed into Mercados Libre. They display my email address right there. And so it should be working. And I go to my phone and I'm signed into Mercados Libre there, same email address. On I have a persona in the internet since I was in college, cyberpunk. You guys probably have run into it at times looking at my stuff. And so just on a whim, I'm like, I wonder if it's associated with my username. And I put this in, and sure enough, it takes it, and I'm signed in. It did not give me the option to use a username. When you're presented with the question, it says email or phone number. I put in a username, which had been created years ago. I want to say over a decade ago. Like maybe right around the time I was having kids, I signed up for a Mercados Libre account. And but this is new because I've signed into a number of different devices throughout the year. I'm sure I have not been using this username, but sure enough, that's what got me in. That's what allowed me to sign in.
Our timeshare company has a brand new, easy to use website that none of us can get into. and the
Well, that's
old
easy.
one, they've gone back to, for a long time I had a username. I knew what my username was. And then they insisted that I log in with my email. And I'd forgotten which email I had used with this one. Anyway, so I finally got all that figured out. So the old site, I was using my new email and checking in. The new one, they again wanted an email, not a username. Well, lo and behold, the good old, from 20 years ago, username popped up in the last upgrade to this new, and I know I've never given it You know, like it's
They've
ridiculous.
parsed it out of old data
Some
and
of the things
associated it with your account.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And every so often it goes back even to before we had to use Bill's legal name on things, and it will allow me to use the name Bill instead of his given name. And
That's
like,
another
it's
story, Bill's legal name.
Legal
Yeah.
name.
Yeah. I,
given name.
My given name is Dale William Thompson. So, and I go by Bill. So all of my documents, a lot of them are Bill, but sometimes they insist on the legal one.
And
And
it-
so it's
yeah.
Dale W. And don't ever do that to a child. Don't ever call them by their second
Since
name.
9/11,
because
don't ever do that.
It's been on my back since I was 10, I'm sure, when it started to get in the way. It's just, I have one more small anecdote.
okay, and then Linda's had her hand up for a little bit here.
When I was in high school, teaching in high school, I was the mini network admin. I was in charge of, accounts, like getting them running or getting a new person's password in. But in our school division, when the kids hit grade 7, the teacher would march them down to the computer lab and get them signed up on their email, their account. And that stayed with them all the way through grade 12. Well, grade 7s and 8s really like to outdo themselves because the password is hidden. They would outdo themselves with obscene passwords.
Okay.
And the girls got into this game too. So they would come to me in grade 10 or 11 and they'd be having problems. I said, what's your password?
Duh.
It's a deer in the headlights.
Do I have to say it out loud to you?
I don't know how you pronounce it. I read it off the internet.
Yeah. But it was the first
My daddy
time.
won't let me
It
say
was about,
that.
that was about the first time they got caught out with doing something like that. And I said, come on, I know what you guys did. Just give me the password. They were some kind of pretty raunchy,
Wow.
especially the girls.
Yeah, girls can be worse than boys.
Anyway, that's it.
All right. Hey, Linda, you've got your hand up. Okay, let me get you on screen. Here you go. We can't.
Yeah, you have the screen is all screwed up
No, it's not.
on the phone, on my phone.
I'm going to blame your phone.
No,
Nothing's
I've
changed.
tried
Linda.
everything.
It's all the same.
It looks the same down here.
Looks good here.
I guess I could log on.
I mean, it's
I've
always
tried everything.
it's always a little off on the dimensions on an iPad or an iPhone, but the majority of it should be there.
Okay, well,
How about flipping it?
I have your
lengthways?
picture in the bottom and the table now in the top, and I was able to get rid of everybody who was online.
Oh, that's what you need to do. Is you need to pin my presentation so it's not fighting with pin it. Pin.
Pin it.
Yeah, pin it.
Hold on a minute. Pin it. I can't.
If you if you hover over
There's the pin.
my
There you go.
presentation, you'll see the pin right there, and you just click on it. I'm pinning you right now for everyone.
Oh,
No.
damn.
I can't get it. Nope. Now that everybody's picture's real small, and now I'm back to seeing the people that are online, their boxes are really big.
Should we tell her her nose hairs are showing up?
Need to move.
And you've got a box at the top that's outlined in a color.
Sure, that's you. Whenever
That's
you
No.
And
No.
go out and come back in.
now you should be
Anyway,
just seeing me and some
another question.
promotions and a skeleton above my head.
Is that Christine sitting there?
No, that's me.
Yeah,
No, is Christine?
yeah. I'm
How
opposite.
could you mistake us? Is it the hat?
I have hair.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Christine, look at the camera over here. Look this way.
See,
Wave.
no hat.
Will you tell her, Christine?
You're talking to her.
Yeah.
Look at my email. Do you want to go with me this afternoon?
I replied, I have somebody coming over. I can't.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Maybe I'm free. Where are you guys going?
Where? What's up?
Who's paying?
I'm trying to find this place.
Does it include margaritas?
Because I have an appointment tomorrow.
No,
Ladies,
do you want to get your eyebrows done?
That's painful.
Well, I had it done years ago.
I
It was
don't.
okay.
Quit shaving your eyebrows. You know, like,
Well, we got Fred, Jim, and Linda in the virtual meeting, and the same 6 here that we've started with.
Or you can do this.
We've run down my casual topics. TJ, you want me to promote your book for a second? Yeah, TJ's written a book. It's out there. Is it self-published? Is that how that's working? Is he self-published with Amazon? It's free for the next 24 hours for anybody that's interested. If TJ doesn't mind, I'll put a link to it in our document if anybody's interested. And it is about predictive hiring, if I understand the title correctly. It's in the stars, subtitled Predictive Hiring, and I forgot the last bit.
So did I.
But it's all TJ's experience and thoughts on hiring truck drivers and how to determine whether they'll stay with the business or turn over, which seems to be an industry problem that I've learned I know nothing about except for what TJ shared with me. So if you guys are interested in that, I don't have the link right in front of me, but I'll put it in this document as soon as I got it right in front of me.
I'm in the process of writing a second book. That is about people who have recently lost their jobs or have been dismissed within their work environment for a variety of reasons, and the journey and the path that is available to them, and realizing that their empty chair is not really empty.
Jesus. I think there are a lot
All
of
right.
people that
And
are
it's
looking
going to
for
be entitled
jobs.
The Empty Chair.
Empty chair.
The Empty Chair.
I think if you're looking for a job, there's a lot of jobs out there right now. I mean, I'm just getting flooded with stuff, and it's allowed me the opportunity to think about each thing that's out there and decide whether it's right for me. I think I've come to the conclusion that I'm not interested in any 9-to-5 responsibility anymore. I'm much more interested in working on passion projects. And so I'm really looking for I'm looking for an opportunity to do computer work for somebody that's doing something that I can respect and get involved with.
The governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, however you pronounce it, said, "Come on down, federal employees. I have lots of jobs open."
That's
for her.
awesome.
Jeffrey Deaver has a book called The Empty Chair. Totally different subject.
Well, without further ado, unless you guys have more dues, my first article I've brought, if you guys haven't been paying attention, but Amazon has announced that a feature that I have never taken advantage of is going away, and that's the ability to process commands locally. I didn't even know that was possible until they said they're turning it off. Well, it means that not everything needed to be sent to the cloud, but now it does.
Huh. I don't have
just
any
like
of those things in my house.
Everything that you speak to your Echo is now being sent directly back.
You see, you read the same article.
I did.
Yeah. This is-
And those of you that have your Echoes and are so enthralled with them, watch out what you say.
well,
Because it knows what day I asked them what the weather is.
I'll tell you why, because they're
US.
harassing greenhold and legal immigrants, green
Exactly.
card and legal immigrants
Well,
in the United
my
States right
main
now.
conversation with Alexa is, Alexa, set timer for 23
I know.
minutes.
And mine is, what's the weather today?
Yeah. Or,
Yeah,
Alexa,
What
how much
time is
time
it
left
in
on my
Alberta?
timer?
but what you're not accounting for, and this is absolutely true, the sheer number of times Alexa is just listening and recording.
Yep.
Just listening and recording, and you can go into your history and you'll be caught off guard by how many misrecordings have been recorded simply because Alexa thought that I need to stop saying that word. Thought that there was a command being invoked and then determined later it wasn't. That you weren't looking for any information. And I've listened to these things, and sometimes these recording tracks go on for minutes. Minutes of just eavesdropping, right? And now we're in a technological world where they're using things like AI to listen to those misdropped conversations, switching them into written English so that they can be indexed and categorized and checked against. And I'll say, I had no idea that they had a way for you to do certain things on Alexa without sending this stuff. And I'd be interested. I mean, I'm a tech person, so why wouldn't I be using that feature that they're about to take away? I should be more up in arms because I've been using it religiously. I didn't even know it existed until they're talking about taking it away.
Taking away
The
it
ability for you to
automatically-
use your Echo device to perform certain commands without sending your conversations to the cloud. That's what this is telling you about. That's what this article is telling you, is that everything is going to be sent to the cloud. They're turning off the feature that allowed local processing.
What kind of command would you use locally?
I would imagine like setting a timer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, things of that nature. Turn the lights on. Things of that nature.
So right now, it automatically saves, but you have had the ability to tell it not to send it to the cloud. Is that what
Yeah,
you're
there
saying?
is a certain amount of commands that would be siloed against those that go up to the cloud for more, for whatever the more
And
is.
the default now is going to be everything is going to the cloud.
Yeah, but I don't like the word default because that implies you can change it, and
Okay,
the
so
point is
the-
you cannot.
Okay.
Now, your Fire Stick has Alexa on demand.
So on software demand.
Correct.
Yeah, there's nothing saying they can just turn that microphone on. It will at any time.
But as of right now,
Yeah.
that is on demand, correct?
Yeah.
That we're not getting-
We have been
we're not
led to
getting
believe
people
we have
that
to
are
hit a
panicking.
physical button to be listened to. And that's why they want you to have an Echo right next to your Fire Stick. So there is an open microphone all the time. There is some interesting stuff that is done with this. Like I have told you before, I've paired a couple of the Amazon Studio Space. Sound beautiful. They do a balancing between each other. They listen to each other. So they tweet back and forth and balance the rooms so that it's trying to give you the richest
They
experience.
listen to each other. That is the key.
Well, that's the mushiness of the technology we're in right
Is that there was an article not that long ago where they had two devices set up to listen, to speak to each
Yeah,
other.
you're as bad as Judy. That's not what I'm talking about. That is not the point I made.
You're lucky to be as bad.
Exactly.
Hey, Judy and I'll have,
We'll have
Yeah,
this conversation.
you're absolutely right. They will talk to each other. In fact, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. We talked
Yes, we
about
did.
these two devices that would switch into a language
Yeah.
for them to talk more efficiently with each other. Yeah. Go
When you're
ahead.
ready for a new topic.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, this might be cell phone for dummies, but I have an Android, and up in the left-hand corner it tells me what the time is. Nowhere on the screen, unless I go into my calendar, can I figure out what the date is. Is there any way to put the date up there or somewhere on the screen? If I shut it down, then the lock screen has the date.
Has the date. So I don't remember on an Android. If you pull down from the top, does it show you the date?
Oh, that's a good question.
Let's see.
I do
Yeah.
that, but
If
I-
you pull down from the top,
Ah, thank you.
and then the clock that you're looking at on your screen is a widget. It is something that you've intentionally put there, whether you
Right, not the lock
intended it or
screen.
not.
Yeah, I did.
Well, not the lock
Oh,
screen, but
this
the one, like you said, you open up your phone and you see a clock, but you don't see the date.
Right.
That clock is a widget. That widget has configurations. And if it doesn't have configurations for you to display the date as well, then you may be able to replace it with a different clock widget that
Yeah.
does.
Thank you.
Clocks on Android.
Widget.
You have to go to widgets to find those additional widgets.
Where do I find widgets?
Well, in my experience, if you hold the
Sometimes,
screen,
yeah.
like if you just hold on it, it'll enter a widget kind of mode.
This says edit lock screen widgets. That's not what I want. Well, you can put that in your cell phone for dummies.
Yeah, no, that's configuring widgets. Because Apple's now full of widgets. So it's very similar to the Android thing. As far as you can control and the layout.
The other thing I have a heck of a time with is I have to make appointments with doctors in New Mexico 5 to 6 months ahead. So I start calling in January. And then they change the time.
Yeah.
And then I
Yes.
have 2 different time zones here. So I told my husband, I said, read what it says. Dr. So-and-so at 10 p.m., 10 a.m., whatever. Don't look at the time on the calendar.
Well, and it's really hard because we got to our annual physical last May, and we were an hour late. Well, I
no.
was
That's a bummer.
I was 45 minutes. Real bummer because they told us that with them we'd have to rebook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how many long was that? Like I made it 3 months before I got there, and I was an hour late, or I was 45 minutes late. Bill was 15 minutes late or something. But anyways, it was and in my
That's your average wait
iPhone,
time in a room anyway.
I have to.
You
I
can
put,
set the time zone,
yes,
but
but
It-
it still
it doesn't matter.
reads where I am.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Where I am,
Yeah.
it'll say 10 o'clock, and then in the little print behind it, 9 o'clock, Alberta
time zone,
you know,
yeah.
that time zone. So once I get into our time zone, I'm going to go back and look at all my appointments that I've
Yep.
made and confirm with the email or the other thing, to make sure. And they usually
Well-
give me phone calls the day
Well,
before.
well, that should work though, right? I mean, even though like if you're using your calendar and you have let's say there's an hour's difference, and you have an appointment in that time zone at 10, and your appointment is at 9 o'clock your time locally, then your calendar is displaying the right time for your meeting. It's displaying the 9 o'clock meeting because that's when it starts over there at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, but once I get into that time zone,
Right.
it seems to still hold on to
The 10
whatever
o'clock. It should.
It didn't last year, and I'm gonna really have to watch it
Well,
this year.
What I would say would probably affect that is whether your calendar knows you're in that time zone or not.
Right.
That's what
Yes.
you would be looking for. Is if
I
it's
think it's
if
calendar time zone override.
Well, I have to turn off my automatic time zone thing for a
Right.
lot of things because that Arizona and Sonora that don't go on
Right,
to the
exactly.
daylight, it doesn't like it.
Yeah.
You know.
so
Try
Nick
making
says, well, just
appointments
put
on your
the
calendar
hour
when
early.
you're
Well, that didn't work
first.
either.
Say again, Fred.
Try making your calendar come up right when you're in Perth, making an appointment in Michigan.
You're trying to make a Michigan appointment while you're in Perth. Yeah. So you're like setting an appointment at 2 in the morning local time because it's actually supposed to be in Chicago or wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're doing a virtual thing, it's hard.
Well, you know, I just use Google Calendar all the time for everything. It's my default calendar, and at least in that calendar, it's very obvious. You can set the time zone of each, the start and the end time. And
So I can in Apple too.
yeah,
But
yeah.
and right there, but now that I know where it is and all that kind of stuff, but yeah.
I was
had-
just had to fill a calendar full of flight details because we got our tickets to France,
Great.
and
And how many times were you charged?
twice. I think we had this conversation.
Yeah, last
yeah,
week.
yeah.
Watch
Think
it.
she's being
but-
facetious.
I know. I'll banned.
That's it. You need to keep your mouth closed now.
I didn't know.
He's gonna mute you.
Right.
Yeah. But that was interesting dealing with the time zones because I hadn't thought about it until it's showing up wrong on my calendar. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, that's not right. And then I'm looking closer. I'm like, oh wait, that's right, but it doesn't know that I want that time in Paris. And so then I had to go back through and set all the final, and then it all started working out correctly. And it's like, yeah, okay, cool. This, as long as my phone knows where I am, it should be right. I have to tell you, it was much more complicated internationally before they started taking into account time zones on calendars.
Mm.
Well, not that we should be rushing through anything, but there's an article here. I'm sure all of you, because you're all part of the computer club, realize that Microsoft is not backing down. If you have a Windows 10 computer that cannot upgrade to Windows 11, you're going to lose security support. So you can fly by the seat of your pants, or you can get a new computer.
Security support? I guess I've read that wrong.
Yeah, no,
I thought it was just updates.
that's what we're talking about. That's
Yeah.
what updates are. Updates
Well-
are filling holes that have been found.
So you can get McAfee or something.
Well, I wouldn't recommend McAfee, but if you were to get a third party, they would have to be responsible for filling those holes instead of Microsoft. Up until this point, they aren't. Up until this point, they're responsible for actually, they're redundant because Microsoft's doing it all. Microsoft is fixing their software so it doesn't have holes, and it's covering for threats that may be out there.
Like Defender.
That's right. And so when you install something like a McAfee's or a Norton's, it's more a lateral change, and it's actually opening up a security hole in your operating system. It's the reason we don't recommend third-party antiviruses any longer, is because the very core of the operating system has to be opened up to a third-party vendor so that they can do the security. Whereas Microsoft has Defender built right into the core, doesn't have to release that responsibility, and that is considered more secure. When Windows 10 support ends, yes, you'll be able to install McAfee's or Norton's, but those companies are going to have to take on the burden of patching the holes in Microsoft, which is quite a bit more responsibility than looking for viruses or spam mail. I don't believe they'll do that. I don't believe that they'll see that as their market. In fact, they might even actually get into trouble with Microsoft.
20.
Okay, so you know that's a 20, right?
Yeah, he told us. It's his.
Okay. I was going to make change, but I don't want that.
Well, where were we? The
McAfee. Don't use it.
McAfee.
Another company.
Yeah, I think that they might actually even find themselves in a little bit of a problem with Microsoft, because Microsoft does offer extended support as a package that you buy. And so I don't know whether they would even be allowed to pick up those kinds of responsibilities, since Microsoft's going to continue to do it if you pay a premium.
If you pay I heard it was $30 a year, and they'll continue to support 10.
$30, that sounds really cheap.
Yeah.
Maybe they've changed it. I was thinking it was more like $100 a license.
Well, now what I'm hearing, that would be worth it.
How much? I'm going to Google it right now. Well, I don't even know if is it being offered to consumers?
I thought so.
Windows 10 support. Let's see here. AI will tell us and fix my spelling. Oh, you're right. Look at this. 1 year for $30. So if you don't want to go to Windows 11, you can pay $30. Extended Security Update Program.
Nick can't on his computer. I got a new computer for that reason.
Nick Canton, well, he's
He's
got...
got 10 and it's not eligible. I mean, it doesn't have all the stuff.
Oh, it won't go to Windows 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. So end of support is still October 14th. And we still think that's going to represent a big dump in e-waste. People, if you have a computer, I mean, to be fair, if you have a computer that you're concerned because you can't get Windows 11 on it, there is a good argument to say it is time for a new computer. It's, 240 million PCs unable to meet the hardware requirements for Windows 11. Well, that's like 2/3 our population.
They keep saying there's a workaround, but I'm not smart.
Well, you've always been able to get Windows 11 installed in a computer that doesn't officially support it. The problem with going that route is Microsoft keeps tightening up those restrictions. They're not loosening them. And we've already had experiences with people that have worked around and got Windows 11, and then they weren't able to get what they needed. At some point, it shut down their ability to get what they needed. And so, yeah, in that case, it turns into this arms race where it's you against them. And they do something, and so you got to fix that, and then they do something else, and you got to fix that. Or you could be a normal person going, I just want to use my computer. I guess I got to go buy a new one.
So how did you get to that screen? You
Uh,
just searched,
You're talking about this article?
yeah, about the cost for.
Oh, you know what? I searched Google. I just put it into a search. How much to extend Windows 10 support, and then it gave me an AI overview, which feels correct. The other information in it feels correct. It correlates with what you were just saying, so I would believe it to be accurate. I do have a handful of Windows 10 computers that it is a shame they're not going to be able to run Windows 11.
Oh, they're too old. You need to replace.
Yeah, I guess that's where we're at. You know, it's funny about this one when this was given to me, because I wasn't interested in it at first. And then I started using it because my other computer is an Ultrabook. It's really thin, it's pretty, it's got a touch screen on it, it's got a 2 gigabyte discrete video card in it. This is just, a basic Intel board with system on a chip. It's got built-in video processor. The difference is my laptop that's so pretty is a 6th generation, and this is a 10th generation. And being a basic stock 10th generation kicks butt over my 6th generation system. It took me a long time to accept that.
But I had to buy a USB extender because there was only one.
Not enough ports on your
port,
computer.
and they were different sizes. So,
They were USB-C.
well, the extender's one, and I got this little package. So sometimes I have a string of USBs.
Okay. An adapter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and actually, I am kind of interested in changing my lifestyle to a tablet lifestyle because so much more of my work now is being done in the cloud or with other people's equipment. There's so little now that I actually need to drag a computer onto a site for. And so I'd be really interested in a mini tablet with a keyboard. And so that's what I'm kind of thinking I might switch my mobile persona into.
Getting off the subject or changing the subject a little bit.
Go right ahead.
Did you catch the thing? Did you catch the thing this morning about the Trump's cabinet on a commercially available encrypted system planning bombing the Houthis?
Well, are you talking about the Signal group that they're using to have secure communication, and somebody let a journalist into it?
That's the one. And the thing about it is, somebody was saying that since they were using Signal, there would not be any trail because it's not recorded.
Yep.
So in the future, there's no recording of whatever they're doing.
That's absolutely correct. It's actually very interesting that we found this out. It would have been one of my topics if I had had time to read about it. But we didn't know the government was actually using Signal. even though the FBI recommended that people that want secure communication should change to Signal immediately because of the compromises they found in our telephone systems across the world. They found Chinese in our phone networks, which shouldn't be surprising to the U.S. government, since the U.S. government can be found in everyone's phone network. Of course, you're going to find Chinese in our phone network. So I thought just finding out that they're using Signal in the first place is amazing. I don't, to just stop for a second, Fred, and talk about Signal. I'm ready to adopt it as a recommendation for everyone, except there is no backup to it. The only backup that exists is on your phone. You can't move that backup off platform. There's no repository. I guess the best analogy I could use is if you went out fishing and dropped your phone in the ocean, there's no getting back any of the conversations you had on Signal when you get your phone replaced. That you've lost all of that, all those pictures, videos, conversations, be it personal silliness to doing work. There is no way to bring that back to your new device. Whereas WhatsApp, though I don't want to promote a third party owned by a company like Meta, does provide a system so that if you can verify who you are with your new device, you can restore a backup from either iCloud or Google Drive. That representing a backup of what has conspired. If the government is using Signal for these kinds of communications, then we have no past record that can be relied upon for who said what, who made what decisions. If they're conspiring in a Signal group, that information can disappear in a heartbeat. I would imagine that's the kind of thinking that inspired somebody to inadvertently let a journalist into their group.
There's no record.
Well, so that they can start reporting on decisions being made outside the public view with no record.
Yeah, according to what I read, though, the government has programs that are military secure that they could use besides Signal, which is anybody in the world can get into it, even if it is encrypted, or if you're good enough anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot in there to hash out, Fred. But essentially, let's think of Signal is held up as the gold standard for security right now. It is the one we should be using. As a consumer, what bothers me is the lack of that ability to back up. I use my Messenger for work and for personal, and there are things that are in it that I do not want to lose, and I want to back up of. Signal has erred on the side of more conservative in their security. One of the reasons that they don't have backups is because it is a security issue. If you have backups hanging out there in cloud storage or on hard drives, those can be compromised. By not having a backup system, they don't have to worry about that kind of security being exploited.
Can you copy and paste it into a Word document and then secure that with a password?
Well, there are ways to copy and paste out of Signal, just like any other app. But there isn't the convenience of everything being backed up. Like if you had content in front of you that you wanted to make sure you had a hard copy of, you could go through the motions of copying those messages, moving them over to another platform.
It's one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a backup. It's just chunking it over.
That's right. It's different. It's probably important to distinguish that. That's not actually a backup. A backup is bringing you back to where you were, and you could never do that from what you're suggesting. You could never come back to that same experience if you'd lost your phone or your phone completely died, got run over.
It's like using ChatGPT without an account.
Using yeah. I mean, you could think of it like that. If you're using Chat GPT anonymous or any service you're using anonymously, there's no reason to think there's any history of what you're doing that you're going to be able to go back to. The difference between using a web browser anonymously, which is very intentional, and using a messaging platform is you don't expect things to be disappearing from your messaging platform, not unless you very intentionally set it up to disappear.
Just read it out loud and Amazon will have it.
Right. There you go. Just make sure you're reading. Yeah. Use your out loud voice when you're going through your messenger.
I just
Well,
found that WhatsApp lets help you protect your account. Passkeys add an extra layer of security by using your face, fingerprint, etc. I didn't know that.
yeah, well, I mean, like what they're just announcing there is their support for passkeys, which is considered the industry standard right now. Hopefully, we're all on passkeys by the end of the year because we were supposed to be on them by the end of last year.
So I thought one day you talked about passkeys and the non-securedness of them. No?
No,
No,
passkeys are supposedly very secure.
Good,
The next
because that's
step
what I
is
like.
step up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
makes
one of the
it so much
reasons,
streamlined, especially with the send a text or a next level code, verification codes and all that kind of stuff. My face is much more reliable than the cell service. So I just really like that I can,
well, and it's not so much your face as it is your device that has already been authenticated to
Yes.
behave on your behalf.
Yeah.
And it's that aspect of it, whether you're using biometrics or a password or whatever it might be. The point of the passkeys is that you're using a device that's already been vetted as your authentication, and you no longer need a password.
But unfortunately, I keep watching these detective shows and these investigation things where the person is dead and they still open their eye and use their phone to open their to get into their technology, or they take the finger print, remove the cover, take the hand and use it to open the phone.
So that's really
Put your
funny.
finger on it.
Yeah, right.
You just reminded me of a whole slew of things when we started working with touch screens,
Yes.
like Vienna sausages in South Korea being
yes.
used in the snow,
Yeah,
so you could wear your gloves and still use your iPhone.
yeah.
That was a thing. That was a thing for a while.
I still have gloves that have little.
When they were hacking the fingerprint reader on the iPhones, when they started taking fingerprints, they had to heat up a sausage and put a fingerprint on it.
On the sausage.
Because there had to be heat for it to
Body
know. Yeah, there had to be body heat, or they wouldn't take the fingerprint. Yeah. But the thing that I always have to remind people, and I don't know why the industry doesn't, is that your face and your fingerprint are not passwords. Those are usernames.
That's the verification or the second thing.
No,
No.
you got to think of it as usernames. They are
Usernames?
usernames. They are your email address. Your face is your email address. That's the level of security your face has. Maybe nobody else has your face, but anybody could have a picture of your face.
You can get access to it. Yeah.
Yeah, your fingerprints are the same way. They're all over your stuff. You can't change your. Think about how often you need to change your password, and think about how often you can change your fingerprint.
Mhm.
These are not passwords.
No.
There was a Columbo episode in regards to a face.
In regards to a face, a Columbo episode.
Yes.
Okay.
And the murderer had his girlfriend drive his car with a mask of a photo of his face as the mask
Oh, as his.
when he got a radar ticket, photo radar ticket.
Okay.
And
That was his alibi.
That was his alibi until Columbo discovered
porfa.
that there was no shadow under the nose.
Huh.
That sounds way ahead of his
That
time for
was-
Columbo.
that
Are you
was-
sure that was a Columbo
You
episode?
know, that was in the
Well, just so totally to make my point for me. That's exactly the issue. And so people are always talking about, I mean, retinas are difficult because you have to get into somebody's eye, but after you've got a copy of a retina, would it be all that difficult to make a fake eye? It's what I guess what I'm getting at is these things that are out in public are public. Your face is public. Your fingerprint is public. There's nothing secure about any of that stuff. They are usernames, the same way you hand out your email address, reservations at AnchorageWalkabout.com. If you want to come to Alaska this summer, just send me an email. But that is not security.
Why are you still doing that? Why are you not providing the QR code?
Oh, I should flash the QR code up, shouldn't I?
Absolutely.
The other thing is that they can take your cell phone when you cross the border.
Apparently, yes. From this
Well-
morning's discussion, that was what caused her
Well,
the
there
most
goes my blood
anxiety,
sugar
is she had
monitor.
no access to any of her resources.
Excuse me, I have I'm connected to my phone.
Right.
What is really the difference between a phone and a computer? Virtually nothing.
Oh, nothing, yeah.
Not anymore.
And when I traveled in Iraq in 2004 to 2008,
But you're traveling in Iraq.
Yeah, this is
I
the
was
United
traveling
States.
to the UK.
Yeah.
I was traveling back to the US.
Well, I don't know what point you're making, but
But the point being is that phones are no different than computers. They're just small computers. But,
I mean-
but because we have
Well-
Steve Jobs did such an incredible job in marketing, where our phone is our
digital persona.
exactly.
That's where we're at right now with phones, and that's why authentication is coming to them. Nobody is ever without their phone, and that's why it makes sense for them to authenticate us now. Before, it was a hard idea to wrap your head around, but this whole idea of not having passwords any longer has to do with that device coupled with you. Something you have, something you know. That's what your phone is your ability to get into that device has already determined who you are. And so that's why it's okay for that device to get into other services. Because that device's job is to know it's with the right person.
Gotta run. See ya.
Bye.
See ya, Christine. I did get a 15-minute warning on switching meetings, so I'm going to pull that up. And Linda's got her hand up. Linda, what would you like to contribute? Are you there? Hello?
Well, I've got my hand up.
Okay, Fred. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Fred, and then Linda.
Okay. Anyway, I was going to comment on that. I have a global intercard from the government. And going through customs, coming back into the United States, all I do is stand in front of a machine and it says, fine, go. Thank you, Mr. Godfrey. You know, and I don't tell it who I am, what I am, or anything. That's how it works.
Unless you're controversial, and then it says, stand here for a moment. We have people coming to talk to you.
Something like that, but I've never had a problem. That's all I do, stand in front of it and go.
Well, you weren't with us
No.
for our discussion this morning, but we were talking about this story of this Canadian actress that was detained for 12 days because she
I saw that.
renew her permission to come into the United States, and when they denied her exit. They detained her, put her up against a wall, took her phone away from her. And that was Judy's reference too, was that it was taken away from her, and she had no contacts. She had no numbers to call. She was fortunate enough to be using a courtesy card from one of her friends to give them grocery points when she's in the States buying groceries. It was the only phone number she could remember. And fortunately, that friend was able to help create enough. That's what that's the article I read this morning. I know this isn't that technical, but she was talking about being with 30 other people, all of them with very reasonable reasons they would be asking for a renewed immigration status or had been in the United States legally. And
Very similar to her sister.
very similar kind of circumstances. not one of the people she met would have the kind of clout to have somebody out there fighting for them. And that's the only thing that drew anyone to her situation.
When they turned the spotlight on her case, all of a sudden they invited her to leave.
Yeah, as soon as she started being asked about in the government, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, you can leave whenever you want, especially if you're going to buy your own ticket.
Yeah.
But it took her 12 days to get a hold of her, to get that far into the.
I would imagine another point that maybe Judy was hinting on is in a situation where they can take your phone, they've all of a sudden taken all of your authentication.
All of it.
All of it. All at once. All at once. You can't get into anything to prove who you are. That's something to think about.
Unless you have paper copies of it with you.
Or other authentication devices.
Like,
And that might be well that might be what we're looking at now is you've got to have more than one authentication device, maybe one in a safe box.
but you can't get to it.
Yeah.
Well, eventually you could though. With the imagine
You can't get into your safe box.
all they
without
got to do is drop
authentication.
your phone and all of a sudden you
22.
can't use that as a legitimate way to get in, right? Oh, it got dropped on processing.
Exactly.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe the way the United States is going right now, there may be a new growing market for devices like rings and
Oh.
necklaces that
Your magic ring.
that
I need one.
that's right. That will
Like a moon
authenticate
ring.
you. That's
Moon
the
ring.
main
But it's
feature.
authentication.
Is this can also be used for your authentication, not just your phone.
I'm reminded of medic alert bracelets,
Mhm.
and I have a couple of friends in the diabetic community that actually have tattooed a T1D, type 1 diabetic, onto their arms and onto the body parts where people would be checking
Yeah.
for things,
Well,
you know.
Well,
I've fallen down and can't get up
Uh-huh.
button.
Yeah, it's the life alert. Yeah.
my mind is just racing on this whole topic right now because I'm remembering now at least 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, we were all getting freaked out because they want to chip people.
Mm-hmm.
You start introducing these kinds of ideas. Oh yeah, your phone is your authentication. Actually, your phone is your only authentication. Wait, we got to fix that. We need other authentication methods in case the phone gets broken. Hey, you know what? If I had a chip, they couldn't take it out of me. I would be able to authenticate myself anywhere.
Well, they did that with the COVID shots.
With chips? I don't remember the chips.
Oh, no,
but-
they injected them.
Oh, I got you. Bill
Elon.
Gates.
No,
Yeah.
Gates.
But talk about flipping the whole chipping a person idea upside down. The guy
Now it's for
we
your protection.
right now it's for your protection. It's not to track people. It's not to know what you're doing.
Or-
It's so that you don't lose your authentication, so you don't lose your digital persona.
That was a big thing with
I'd rather
this,
have a mood ring personally.
mood ring. the
I like the
Canadian-
idea of a mood ring that authenticates that I can hand to my daughter when I'm passing away, and she can get access
Yeah.
to everything for me. I think that makes a lot of sense, is to have these devices that can be locked in a safety deposit box, that when somebody's passed away, they can take those devices and effectively get authenticated on somebody's systems.
Scott, pretty soon you're going to have authentication to get into the lockbox.
We used
Right.
to, I do now. I have to get in there with my palm print.
Oh,
Truly.
yeah. I don't doubt
I still have a
I-
key for my box, but
I
to
can
get
see
into the room, it's
the
my
case.
hand.
You know, the guy that was in the Paris airport, that he lived there because he couldn't go home, he
Right.
couldn't go anywhere. You get someplace like that, you lose your phone, you're trapped. You can't go anywhere. You're done.
So this morning, I think this is a relevant story. This morning, I'm logging into this computer for the first time to use Bitwarden. It's my password manager, it's Bitwarden. And I've never put it on this computer, and today I wanted to do some stuff. I'm like, oh, I don't have those passwords available to me. I might as well put Bitwarden on this computer. So I install it and ask me for username and password. I've got all that, and it says, oh, this is the first time you've signed in on this device. Answer the email to get the code. Well, I don't have email set up on this computer either. And the email I use is hosted with my with my domain. I mean, basically, it's an odd email address that I never use for anything except for something like this. And so I have to go through all these hoops
To get there.
to get to the email, to get the code so that I can get authenticated. And all I would have to do is be missing one of those
One of
steps,
the
and I'm
pieces.
completely locked out of everything.
When we had our technology stolen here, everything had to be authenticated through my home telephone number at home. So they would send things to like
Oh, I
To the
remember.
landline.
Yeah.
to recordings like that and things to that phone number, and it alerted me, and so I've got it all changed now. But it wasn't
To your
until
cell phone number.
but my cell phone number has changed over the years, and this one was way back, and it was the only one that it was able to
But they
do
were,
anything to.
They were sending the authentication digits
Uh-huh.
to
Yeah.
the landline.
Right. Yeah,
Which
absolutely.
will only record it. And finally,
Finally, what I had to do was I had to put a long distance. I had to pay for the long distance to forward
Yeah.
those messages to.
Oh,
my
and you
phone.
fortunately have a phone service that will forward
That I
text messages from a landline to a cell phone.
Yeah.
Because
really.
even
I just had to pay for it. I had to
Yeah,
activate.
but even
activate
that's
that part
hard
of it.
still to find, is a landline that will forward
it's getting
text
harder to find
messages.
landline.
Yeah.
Well, I would get recordings all the time because I have my voicemail on that phone, but it needed to talk to. I don't know. It was a mess anyway. So it alerted me to go back in and change all of that kind of stuff.
Well, and to that, I mean, I don't have, all I've got's a lot of rhetoric. I don't really have anything to solve this
Yeah.
problem. I hope just us talking about this and people in the world, they come up with better solutions, because these are all the problems. We
And
don't know how to
tattooing
fix
a
it.
number on my arm.
Right,
I
that
just
can't be
don't-
the
I
solution.
just-
Chipping ourselves can't be
Right,
the
I
solution.
don't go for
I do like the mood ring idea, though. I think that's I think they should start selling packets of rings that can do authentication. I mean, I think it makes sense.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's your new business.
Well, they already do stuff like that with dongles. These fobs.
Out
They
of
have
your
fobs.
meeting?
Yeah.
Did you get booted out?
Oh my goodness, we're still
see
in a
you
meeting.
live?
You got less than a minute.
Less than a minute. Well, the other
Okay.
one should be up now, so you guys can. Oh, it's not. Damn it! Why didn't it go up?
Because mood rings got to you.
That's right. Hold on a second. Let me get the other one up. I'll
Scott
see you
got
guys
all
over there.
excited.
I probably have one somewhere in a drawer.
A mood ring.
Oh,
Well, what about the mood t-shirts then? Used to change color.
All right, it should be up now. I'm ready to let Fred in. Hello, Fred. Whoop, and this one is disconnected.
Hello.
Hello.
Now give it me.
I did.
So
There it is.
this idea of having other devices. Wait a second. I've got so many things going on.
They
in my
have
head
to
right
be
now.
a hidden kind
Focus,
of
Scott.
Yeah.
Focus.
a hidden kind of device, so it can't be like a little thumb drive or something.
Yeah.
Can't be that.
Just, the old James Bond kind, just rip one thumbnail off.
well, we're going back to
Put it-
shoe
put it
phones.
back.
I
Shoe
know it.
phones.
Yeah, shoe phones. There you go. You always have to shoot.
Well, Reacher's got one, so
Oh,
Yeah, Reacher stuff.
Maxwell Smart.
yeah, he
yeah,
was
that-
way before
We're
his
all in
time.
the Maxwell.
He was the first.
I was thinking that when we
It
said
had dial.
Columbo.
Well, would you believe 3 Boy Scouts and a loaf of bread? I have a whole battalion out waiting. Would
Okay.
you believe?
I'm sorry this had to wait as the last, because it is my favorite article. It is long, and it's a great read from the New Yorker. This is Data Hoarders Resist Trump's Purge.
Is that behind a paywall?
No, it's not. At the moment, it's
No, it
not.
wasn't.
At the
I
moment,
looked
it's
at it.
not. It is. Did you read the whole thing? It's
No,
great.
I read most of it. It was really long.
It really.
It was really long.
Oh, I mean, it filled my heart. I'm like, I want to be one of these people. In fact, I think we should all be looking into this. What's going on is that people, mostly from a subreddit group called Data Hoarders, have taken it to be their responsibility to back up the public data that is getting deleted by Doge.
Oh, yeah.
They've organized a project where they're accounting for all these public records that are disappearing.
Yeah.
And they are accumulating them, in archive.org is leading some of this charge. They're verifying what's missing, and they're creating their own. And this is hundreds of thousands of people, self-proclaimed data hoarders. I'm actually a data hoarder myself. Where their passion is finding things that are disappearing on the internet and verifying, making sure that there is a copy of it out there. And so they've got servers in their homes, and they're going to these publicly available databases, and they're making big downloads over time and putting them into their own servers to make sure that this data doesn't disappear from, well, the Ministry of Truth. That's what we need to rename Doge, is the Ministry of Truth.
Yes.
Because they're just arbitrarily wiping out whatever information they deem doesn't fit with the agenda of the presidency. And these guys...
Jackie Robinson and George Foreman and
Yeah.
the Code Talkers and
Or what about just the boat that has the name Gay in it?
Enola Gay.
Yeah.
Not the boat, the plane.
It
The
was-
plane, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, the
bomb.
plane.
It was a bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They dropped it.
Yeah, the dropping
More
of
ways than one.
the
Yeah.
bomb.
Pretty
Enola Gay, is
Enola.
that
Uh-huh.
Enola Gay?
It's his
LA.
mother's name.
And so
The pilot's
that
name.
history was lost off of the website because it had the word gay in
I
it.
think it.
It's
Yeah.
back, I
They
thought.
put it back.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
And I thought
Oh,
they put the
oh, so-
Tuskegee Airmen back too.
The which?
Tuskegee Airmen, they were the black
The
Oh,
yeah, the
black
yeah.
pilots.
who we've only recently been reunited
Yeah,
with
the
that
Red Tails.
information because they kept it from us for
Yeah.
so long, which is so consistent with a lot of American history. But
But
yeah,
the-
or the Code
The
Talkers are
Code
another one.
Talkers was the one that just really, you have really gone way too far. on
Yeah.
this one.
I mean,
You
like,
would
there's
have
an
lost the
argument that
war.
they're the reason you won the war.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you would take them off of our website. You would deny us those histories because you got this crazy
19-year-olds
DEI.
that are doing it. They have no concept of all any of that.
I recommend this article to everyone.
I'm gonna have to go back and read it.
It
Maybe I'll get all the way through it.
it really, I mean, I don't know about you. It really filled my heart with inspiration. I wanna be one of these data hoarders. I'm gonna look into it because as long as they keep deleting stuff, somebody's got to be out there recording it. Well, that's my last topic for this meeting, and Judy left, so I guess it's over.
That doesn't signify anything.
Oh, yes, it does.
Yes,
Bye,
it does.
Judy.
Bye, Judy.
I'm not saying you, but some people leave after passing gas.
I was saying now we can talk about it. The topic is now.
Maybe she still got her computer.
Yeah. She can go back and see it on the YouTube.
Is her Alexa around here somewhere?
Right, yeah. Okay, well, we have kind of reached the end of this meeting. If you folks don't have other topics, what do you got, Bill?
Well, when you talk about Alexa and you know,
We should talk about Echo.
Echo. Okay,
yeah.
Echo. One of my problems is I run some routines in Amazon Echo or Alexa, whatever.
Yeah.
And one of them is hooked to my mixer that I use for sourdough at home, and it's timed. I have a timing system. The trouble is, if I start it up and I discover I've made some kind of error in whatever, you can't stop the routine. You cannot stop it. You have to let it run.
This is a routine
An Alexa routine.
built with Alexa skills.
Yeah, it's a routine inside the package or whatever. I just build the routines.
Wow, that's interesting. And there isn't something to stop the routine.
No, because it exists in the cloud somewhere, but you can't get at it. Once you've started a routine, it's got to go to the end. There is no way to interrupt it.
All right, I'm Googling you right now to see if
Go
that's
ahead.
true.
And
To
it's-
stop an Alexa routine in progress, you simply say, Alexa, stop.
Baloney.
Or if you know the routine name, you can say, Alexa, stop routine name.
Well, maybe they've changed it, but when I
No,
was
no, this is AI. He could be completely wrong.
oh, I see. There you go. I checked it out when I ran into the problem, and it said, no, there is no way to interrupt a Alexa routine.
Well, this is taken out of a Reddit group and an Amazon forum. How to
Well,
stop a routine
I
in
can
progress.
test it right now if you want.
Yeah. Use your routine's name. I think that's where you would be the most successful.
What is it? Is it Fred? Or is it?
Oh wow! And one of the forums, the Alexa forum that it has sent me to, has people talking like, "Has anything been made to fix this?" And this is 4 years ago, 5
Yep.
years ago. And one of the answers is no, not in all my. I mean, this is like there is still no command to stop a routine, but this is 5 years ago.
Okay, so my routine is playing. It'll just go into the ethers. I don't know how can I see it?
This is what I hate about this stuff. This is 5-year-old information coming up as first pick search results.
I know.
What that tells me is no, they haven't changed it. No, it's still a problem.
That's why you don't need Google, you just need your wife. She knows everything.
Anyway, it was what I wound up with at one time was trying to get it to stop, and I had about 5 of the routines running, one right after the other. It just stacks them up.
Oh,
It
God.
just keeps going.
You got into that with multiple timers too. Which timer would you like to stop?
Well,
which timers do I
nobody-
have on? You know?
You can stop the timers.
Yeah,
That is,
Okay, here's 2023. I understand you want to be able to stop a triggered routine while in progress. I just tested the same on my device, and Alexa stop command did work. Have you checked it on your device? So she has an Alexa 5th generation. Maybe it's generationally based whether a stop of a routine would work or not.
yeah, but
I would think you'd be able to pull open your phone Alexa app and tell the Alexa app to stop your routine by name.
I don't know. I'll play with it when I get home. That's where I can really see it.
Home.
Home. Yeah.
Well, I'll give you one more goofy one. I have a smart fan controller up in the fan.
Yep.
And it burned out this last year, and so it's either on fan or off based on the light switch. It won't take any voice commands. It won't turn on the light. It won't use the remote control anymore. It's just it's fried in the on position for the fan. And so I just got the equivalent of the exact same thing, but it's all Chinese garbage, so it's not the equivalent of the exact same thing. It looks identical, but it doesn't have the beep the other one had. And I get it all wired into the fan. If you've ever done this is not simple work. You got to take it off the ceiling. You've got to wire this controller in, put it all back up in the ceiling before you can even begin to determine whether it's working correctly. And sure enough, every function works except it won't turn the light back on. It'll turn it off, but it won't turn it back on. And I can hear the relay clicking. When I say, Alexa, turn the lamp or the fan light on, Alexa goes, okay, and you can hear the relay up there go click, but the light doesn't come on. But if I use remote control, the light will come on.
The lights comes on, but nobody's home. Is that it?
Or it doesn't come on when people are home. Regardless, I'm going to send it back to Amazon, which means I got to take the whole thing down again.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy another one before I have to, so I can do an interchange at the exact same time.
The other day, like I check my house every day. I've got smart apps around there that I got one camera. I can see the temperature. Anyway, all of a sudden, the internet stopped. Everything was gone. I couldn't find it. So Cheryl gets a hold of Shaw, the provider, and they tried to remotely set it. Said no, can't do it. Somebody has to be in the house to manually pull the plug and put it back in. So I arranged with my son to today. He's supposed to be there right about now. And yesterday in the afternoon, I just randomly checked my apps that I want to use there. All of a sudden, the internet's back.
Everything's working because it
Everything's
wasn't your house.
Well, see, I
But
don't know.
I'm sure that's happened
Was
once
there a
before.
power outage? But
Oh,
the
who
Shaw
knows?
should have been able to see if it had power.
Oh, no. It had power. It would have had power.
But if a power outage could represent problems down the line, it could be anything that spikes or surges. Like we've had power outages in the Ranchitos, and all of a sudden we don't have phone service.
Yeah.
We don't have cell phone service because the Caracal's that way too. Yeah.
It spikes all the time.
We have absolutely no cell reception. As soon as I walk into our
Well, that's a
condo,
different issue.
it goes down, and then in the back room, it's gone completely.
You should get one of those repeaters for your house.
Well, yeah, but
If I lived there, I'd do that. Sam has one on his building,
Yeah.
but he's
Well,
2 doors
but
over.
in order to get it, you got to put an antenna somewhere
Mm-hmm.
on the roof.
We don't own the
Only,
roof.
yeah, we don't own the condo, so, and you'd have to get somebody, one of the maintenance guys, to go up there and put it on the roof. It's just, no, it wasn't worthwhile. So we live with it.
Well, then the other way to deal with that problem is have good internet and Wi-Fi calling
But
enabled.
that's not a good thing either, because
Yeah.
I had to get my extender to even get it through the building,
Yeah,
through the rooms.
those are your options though.
Yeah, that's it.
Antenna or Wi-Fi calling, one or the other.
And neither one was a really great option, but now we do have internet pretty much steady throughout the condo.
We're at the end.
We're at the end.
Power surges and so forth.
Sure.
And for my hot tub, I have the app on my phone. But if the power goes out, I then have to reset everything through the hot tub and the phone.
What does that mean? You have to set it all up again if the power goes out? That's crazy. Is that because it just forgets? That sounds like a poor design.
It's because it's Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi connected.
But it should reconnect when the power comes up.
Doesn't.
Yeah. I think I would any device that treated me like it's one of the bulletproofing that we try and do in the shop when we're out on site setting up equipment for people is we pull the plugs on things. We simulate power outs because there's nothing more frustrating than somebody's doorbell that stops working as soon as the lights go out and it comes back up and needs to be set back up. If it needs to be set back up, there's a manufacturer issue there. And so I would think you'd be able to debug that problem to something you could report.
UFG. It's a UFG plug. So that UFG has to be reset.
Oh, you're actually physically popping the breaker. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that makes
That
sense.
occurs. Then everything
Then
is-
yeah.
Then
yeah.
you have to reset. Because the power's been cut.
I remember now, like this happened to us once before, and somebody had to be in the house to pull the plug. So before I left that time, it was a different router at that time. I just put it on one of those little clock
Little timers, yeah.
and it would turn off and come back on 5 minutes later, and at 3
That's-
o'clock at night, it would reset the router again, and it was fine. It worked fine. I'll do that again now.
Still
Yeah,
don't
that's
plug on you.
Hmm?
Still don't plug on
that the timer solution has been an IT solution for
a long
years.
time.
Yeah.
It just it's the old turn it off, turn it on again.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we definitely, even the last job that I was working, that became a solution because there was some stability problems with the internet provider. And I'm like, you can spend the next 3 days working with techs and engineers, or you just go buy a timer because all they're doing to fix the problem is turning it off and turning it on.
Yeah. Well,
It's
my favorite is talking to those techs when you do have a problem, and well, is your coax connector?
Yeah, that's what he said. We'll have to do some troubleshooting.
Yeah, troubleshooting, and they go to the book,
yeah.
and it's always the same. Yes, the goddamn coax is tight. Yes, it's
I
fine.
just want to answer the questions before I even,
Yeah.
All
Yes,
right,
yes,
guys.
No, yes.
Let's
Okay.
end this meeting. Is there any recommendations?
Cheryl.
Cheryl, you got anything?
Well, I've been watching Sight Unseen. It's a
Is that a show?
TV show. Sight Unseen, I think is what it's called. It's a blind a detective who goes blind, so she now consults, and she has a woman in her ear becomes her eyes. So the technology
So like
end of
she's
it.
like wearing a camera.
Yeah, she's wearing a camera and she's connected by the phone to a couple of people actually, and she's solving crimes and everything because without vision she sees more than she could before. Anyway, so Sight Unseen. I'm pretty sure it's called Sight Unseen.
I'm
TV
looking it up
series.
right now.
Yeah.
TV series Sight Unseen.
Is it in there?
Yeah, I think I found it. Come on, Sight Unseen.
I won't go into my silo rant again.
You're still watching Silo? Did
No,
you
it's-
finish
I
it all?
hit the end,
Yeah.
and now I gotta wait.
Oh, this has got Rob Marrow in it. I like him.
Who's he?
He's just been on all kinds of TV stuff. He
Is he one of the detectives, or is he the...
he's got to be because he always plays that kind of character. This is the guy.
Oh, okay, he's in this season. He
He-
wasn't in the first season.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's the kind of guy that always plays like a detective, or so I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised if he was a detective in this show.
Let me see. Sight
Is this
Unseen?
is this
Wait a
the
minute.
second?
Where's the girl? I don't...
This isn't it. This is something else.
I think I'll bring it up in my
Yeah, open it up in yours.
global news, or global, what do I watch it on?
Take care of it.
Oh no! Oh yeah. See you, TJ. I'm gonna try and get your book today. Oh, you know what? You're right. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm looking at a movie called Sight Unseen.
Yeah.
This must be what you're looking at right here.
Sure.
Yeah, that's her.
That's
Yeah.
it. Okay.
And is that, yeah, Sight Unseen. Okay, I got
Okay.
the title right. But
Series, not movie.
Series, not movie.
TV
It's from
series.
Canada.
it is. It's a
Oh,
Canadian
all
series.
right.
It
Well, that's
takes
why I
place-
haven't heard of it.
Takes place.
Yeah.
I've been, and maybe I'm watching it on Gem. That's why I got it. Yeah, I've been watching a couple of Canadian produced things.
By the way, we're in election time.
We
Yeah.
vote-
We're
we
full blown
vote the day we
federal
get it.
election now.
Oh
Third
yeah.
day.
Yeah, Sight
But-
Unseen.
So what does that mean, Bill?
It means like 38 days of election and we're done again. You guys have no idea how nice that is. Not 3 years.
But how do you get to? I mean, you can't really commercialize anything in that short amount of time. I mean, how are you going to buy people's votes? and
Well, it's
convince
been done,
people
but-
of scare people, and
Yeah.
you haven't given enough time to.
Well,
What
indoctrinate.
about your dangerous immigrants that are
Yeah.
raping and killing people? I mean, you got to get that message. You don't even have time for that message.
Yeah.
30 days.
Ain't-
You guys don't know how to have an election.
Yeah, we don't know.
Fear, drama, suspense,
Lies.
lots of lies.
Scandals.
Lots of lies.
Scandals and put downs. Okay.
That's right.
So, Canadian content. Allegiance is another series.
Allegiance.
It takes place in Surrey, British Columbia. And
Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. I don't even know if I can spell allegiance.
Allegiance.
E-T. Ah, okay. I-A-N-C-E.
Allegiance.
TV series.
Yep.
Started last year. Is
Mhm.
this it? It's crime. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on a second. Where am I? There we go. Is that it?
That's her.
This is also Canadian.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It's a TV series, a rookie agent, yeah, working in Surrey, which is her hometown. Her father is like they've changed the name. She's basically an RCMP, but they don't call it that in the series. But her father is a politician.
She's a cop and her father's a politician.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of corruption in the police force.
But not with her. She's the one good cop.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
she's got a few things on her.
Well, the election on, you never know.
Anyways, it's a serious show, interesting because of its topics, and it's daily. You know, it's up to date topics and things like that. The other mini series I watched, it's actually a book that we were doing for our book club, and I had the book out of the library. It's a huge book. but I never got it finished, so I had to return it. So now I've watched the miniseries instead. The Book of Negroes.
Book of Negroes.
It actually, it based on true historical facts. Woman, an educated slave, basically,
Yes.
wrote and documented the Book of Negroes, who was brought from, like, who was owned by which plantation owner and all this kind of stuff, and has it all documented, if they came from Africa, if they were freed.
So is this a documentary or a dramatization?
Dramatization of a history kind of thing.
The Book of Negroes, 2015. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
It's not the Book of Boba Fett. It's
No, it's the book.
it's in the same list. It's in the Book of list.
Book of list.
One season.
Yeah, it's like a mini series, I would think. It's like six episodes.
Miniseries. Kidnapped in Africa and oh my gosh, I can't talk today.
Subscripted? No, what's the word?
Substantially, subsequently,
Sequentially.
subsequently. This is awesome.
Good word.
Here, read aloud, please.
Where is it?
I don't know where he's reading from.
Yeah,
Hold
put
on.
it up on the screen.
I've got an app here that should be reading it to us right now.
That's
Or
a
not. Don't do it then.
6-part miniseries that follows the harrowing journey of Amelia Diallo. Forced
That's
into
really
slavery.
funny. Here.
Subsequently?
Subsequently. Thank you.
Trying to
That's
figure
the
out what
word.
the word he was trying to say.
What is the word? Subsequently enslaved in South Carolina.
Yes. But then she ends up, another Canada connection.
Oh, revolution in New York, isolation in Nova Scotia, and treacherous jungles of Sierra Leone in an attempt to secure her freedom in the 19th century. That sounds intriguing.
It is very intriguing and a very good little 6-part miniseries. And the last one I
Oh, you
watched.
got more?
I haven't been here 3 weeks. So.
Oh,
Saint Pierre.
Oh.
Saint Dash Pierre.
Saint Pierre. Hold on a second. Let me add this link.
We've talked about Saint Pierre. Bill's talked about Saint Pierre. It's a French territory within the waters of the
right beside Newfoundland.
between Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland. And this is a little detective series.
Saint-Pierre TV series.
It's
Is this also Canadian?
Yes, oh yeah.
Oh, and it's brand new.
it's brand new.
Brandon.
They did one series and the finale was added, but it of course leads you into next year if it ever gets made. So,
Well, I'm adding these to our list, but I'm not adding them to track anymore, and I still need to check out Jim's recommendation for tracks.
that
Uh,
sim stuff or something.
Yeah,
I
the
had to look
Simcoe.
I didn't find it very user friendly, but
Nothing jumped out at me when I looked at it, which told me I needed to spend more time looking at it.
yeah, it was.
It reads like it's going to do the things that we would want it to do, but then it wasn't straightforward. So I need to spend some more time looking at it. But I will put links in our documents so you can easily get to summaries from services that are out there if you're interested in reading about the recommendations being made in our club. I have nothing except to not recommend Captain America.
Oh,
I couldn't believe that movie. Has Harrison Ford. It has the Red Hulk in it. I was really excited to see what a boring movie that was.
Don't get Jonathan going.
is
Oh.
this one that Jonathan was on too?
I don't know. Did he?
No,
has
don't
he seen
ask
it
him.
yet?
We don't have time.
It was just so disappointing from a superhero movie because
Oh.
it didn't have any of the
Any-
things that you needed for a good superhero movie. We literally got bogged down in dialogue telling us the story instead of
Oh.
actually showing us the story.
Monologuing?
Too much dialogue. Very boring. Not enough action. And actually, I like dialogue-filled movies, but it has to be entertaining.
Yeah.
And this is more like moving the plot along, like pushing it along, because they didn't film it.
Yeah, it's cheaper to have somebody talking.
No, it was a big disappointment. The other movie that we saw recently that was not a big disappointment was Mickey 17. I don't know if I mentioned that last
No, I
week,
don't
but
think so.
Mickey 17 is an excellent movie. It's got the guy from Twilight that is hard to like, except for he does a lot of weird movies, and that's kind of what you like him for. He did the latest Batman, the Robert Patterson, I think is his name. And he plays, this is a story of a interstellar trip to a new planet, because the classic story, we can't live on Earth any longer. And the people on the journey have all received positions that they're supposed to be working in this community. And his position is of an expendable. And what an expendable is, the lowest man on the totem pole.
It's the red shirt.
He's the red shirt. And the reason it's a position to work is because they've come up with 3D printing technology for bodies, memory storage, data storage systems for your brain. And they quite literally, when you die, they just print out another body and stick your most recent memory download into it. So his job is dying regularly. And I won't get into the details of why 17, but it's a whole drama of him coming to terms with who he is and the people he interacts with.
Mickey 17?
Mickey 17.
M-I-C-M-I-K?
Like Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, Mickey 17. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Can't remember. I remember the production company and the director are from things that you would appreciate as well. At the moment, I can't remember what those things are.
Last night I went through my list of ones I'd like, and I watched Hidden Figures. I don't think I've ever watched that.
Oh, that's
haven't
great.
you?
Yeah.
That's a good movie. I like that.
I watched that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought we watched that.
it's an old movie. It's 15 years old probably.
Gosh, is it really that old now?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. It's back there. Anyway, dear, it's time to go.
Yeah, we gotta call it. Here, I'm putting Mickey 17 on the screen.
You had coffee?
Yep, I'm gonna go pay.
M-I-C-K-Y.
Mickey.
Mickey 17. Unlikely hero Mickey Barnes finds himself in extraordinary circumstances of working for an employer who demands the ultimate commitment to the job, to die for a living. Science fiction comedy adventure. That is a really good description of it.
Okay, I'll give that one a shot. Okay, I'm gonna go pay.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to call this meeting to an end. Hear ye, hear ye.
Hear ye, hear ye. I second the motion.
Everybody must keep their peace till next time. Where am I? I'm writing this into our document over here, and then we're saying it's good.
Mickey 17 is on Netflix?
It's in the movie theaters. That's where I saw it.
Oh, you went and saw it?
We actually, yeah, it's worth seeing on the big screen. It's a sci-fi movie.
This is the one that my friends went to in Guaymas.
Yeah.
And they said, she said, I have no idea what it was called or what it was about, but it was a lot of fun. So,
It was so much better than Captain America. I mean, I hate to say it because I'm a superhero fan, but this Captain, and I like Andrew Mackie as an actor, but I don't think he can be Captain America.
he
Not-
was miscast.
Well, he needs to carry the whole movie as the main character, and
Yeah.
he's never done that in any of these other superhero movies.
Yeah.
He's always been the sidekick.
Yeah.
He's the
been
one
Robin.
that jumped.
Robin, not Batman.
Yeah, he's the one that the jokes are bounced off of, not the one telling the
The
jokes. And-
straight man. What do you call it? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, and everybody, to be fair, in a Marvel movie, everybody gets to say funny stuff, but he has never been the main character. And so this is the first movie where they put him up as the main character. And it's got to be one of the worst. No, not because it's bad what they did, because it's boring what they did. Right? I mean, what they did, I mean, sure, in superhero world, it's believable. It fits in with the timeline. Everything kind of jives together all right. But it was just boring. It's like, why even make this story?
Well, we're off tomorrow to
Yeah, we're off
have
to
our
Alamos
first,
tomorrow.
Oh, all right.
first adventure buying a Sonora only pass.
See you next week.
Yep.
See you, Fred.
See you, Fred.
Anybody else with us still online?
So I,
Nope, just Fred. All right. See you, Jim.
we can
Bye, guys.
We can update you on what. Oh,
Well, you know what? We're taking our inter-exchange student to Alamos this weekend.
oh, are you?
Yeah, we
We'll
will.
wave to you as we go.
So,
Yeah.
do you guys bypass Obregon or do you drive through the town?
We go through Obregon.
You go through Obregon?
Yeah, we
Why
haven't.
do people not use the bypass?
I'm thinking. I remember, in fact, we recently went through Obregon. What were we doing? Just like in the last 6 months, we had a reason. Let me shut this down. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Hey, this has been the San Carlos Computer Club. I'm Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions. We meet every Tuesday at 10 to talk tech at Tequilas. You are welcome to join us if you are in San Carlos. If not, join us online at scclub.org. Until next Tuesday, tech on.